Hey guys, so today I'll be doing a little bit of browsing and I'll be looking at different expensive hi-fi equipment. I thought, this is just something I'll do for fun since this is what I do in my free time anyways, is I look up expensive audio equipment, expensive guitar equipment, stuff like that that really interests me, expensive electronics, because I'm into that stuff, right? As an audiophile, I really just like to look at different technologies, and it's kind of like people, some people like cars, some people like expensive cars, and they just like to browse around to look at expensive cars like Rolls Royces or Bugattis or something like that, right? For me, it's like that, except instead of cars, I'm into hi-fi equipment. So that's what I'll be doing today, just going down a list of some of the most expensive hi-fi equipment I could find and just telling you guys my thoughts on it. So this is going to be a list of 26 different brands and 26 different products from those brands. I actually wanted to do like a list of 25, but then there's this, I couldn't just keep it 25 because there's one other brand I wanted to add, and I was like, okay, let's just do 26 then, fine. So anyways, this is going to be a list of 26 different products. I try to keep one brand per product because I want to keep my video a little bit diverse and everything, and basically, I just took the most expensive product from these brands. And I'll be going from the least expensive all the way to the most expensive on my list. So that's how I'll be doing it, in order from the least expensive to most expensive, okay? All right, so just gonna do some browsing, and these are gonna be different hi-fi equipment, speakers, amplifiers, stuff like that. So stay tuned. All right, so by the way, guys, all of the products on this list is going to be at least $50,000 US. That's my minimum to be on my list, okay? $50,000 US. And I'm going to start out with the cheapest and most affordable product on my list, the $55,000 AccuPhase C3900 preamplifier. Yes, this is the cheapest product on my list, okay? I'm starting from $55,000. I'm just gonna take a look at all these different products and stuff. Okay, so AccuPhase is a Japanese brand. They've been doing it for like decades. They're one of the most high-end Japanese brands, I would say. Yeah, especially when it comes to amplifiers is their main product. And I think this is their most expensive product. And like I said, I'm just gonna take the most expensive product from each of these brands, and I believe this is their most expensive product. It's a preamplifier, not a power amplifier, which is kind of interesting because usually power amplifiers would cost more, but in AccuPhase's case, their most expensive product is actually a preamplifier, and and it looks like this. It has a dual balanced AAVA design. Okay, what does that mean? I'm not sure. ANCC technology minimizes noise and distortion. Volume sensor construction, Toyota power transformer. Oh, 2 Toyota power transformers, not just one. And of course, you gotta have this beautiful vintage look as well. I really do like the look of Japanese electronics, especially high-end Japanese electronics. Like a lot of Yamahas, Marantzas, Luxmans, and AccuPhase. Yeah, they all look really nice. This is the actual product page. I'm gonna be, going through the product page as well for each of these if I can, just to get more information on them. And okay, this is what it looks like. No higher res pictures. Okay. Anyways, if you guys don't know what preamplifier is, it's basically like, essentially, it's a device that will accept all your inputs and then output it to your power amplifier. So when you actually have AV separates, your preamplifier oftentimes contains a DAC as well. But in this case, I don't think it actually contains a DAC because I don't see any digital inputs. This is analog only, very old school. So no digital inputs, which means this doesn't even contain a DAC. It's analog inputs only, so it's just a preamplifier, no DAC inside of it. But a lot of times preamplifiers will contain DACs because a lot of them accept digital inputs as well. But in this case, it's just analog inputs, so it's just a preamplifier. All it does is it takes in a whole bunch of inputs and then you feed it out to your power amplifier. That's how the separates work. Of course, if you want to connect it to a digital source like optical or USB or HDMI, then you got to get a DAC on top of that. So that's pretty much it. It doesn't have too much information about this device, but $55,000 for this. This is AccuPhase's most expensive product. I mean, it looks really nice. It's very beautiful, but I would think for this price you would at least maybe have some digital inputs and a DAC inside of it, but no, it's just a pure preamplifier. Interesting. All right, so that's I guess number 26 on my list. I'm going up all the way up to the most expensive, which is number 1, right? All right. The second least expensive on my list is the Sennheiser HE1 headphones. These are, correct me if I'm wrong, I've done a lot of research on headphones and I've owned a lot of headphones and stuff. I believe this is the most expensive headphone in the world. I don't think any other headphone even comes close. The Sennheiser HE1, it's 60,000 euros, which is roughly about 60,000 US. Like euros and US are almost similar, so it's roughly about $60,000 US for these headphones. I believe these are just by far the most expensive headphones in the world, because you can look up all the other expensive headphones, whether it's by HiFi Man. I know HiFi Man has the Sesvara unveiled. That's pretty expensive. That's like still under $10,000. Any of Audi's most expensive headphones. You can look up all the most expensive headphones. None of them are going to come close to $60,000. Like, this is just by far the most expensive headphone, the Sennheiser HV1, and therefore it makes this list because it's at least 50,000 US dollars. So yeah, why are these headphones so expensive? I think these are more expensive than any Stax headphone as well, of course. So it comes in a kit, and I think you have to use it with this amplifier. And I've never even seen this headphone before. It's called the Orpheus. But yeah, I think part of the reason why it's expensive is because it comes with an amplifier, a tube amplifier actually. So that's part of the cost. And tube amplifiers can cost a lot of money even by themselves. So, I mean, if you look at some of Cayenne's stuff, Macintosh, Woo Audio, all these other brands making Luxman, right, that are focused on making tube amplifiers, they can cost quite a bit. But yeah, it's electrostatic, just like with Stax headphones. Electrostatic headphones are really not that common. I think Stax is probably the most well known, but there's really not a lot. And Warwick, I think Warwick Acoustics makes some, but really not that common. So electrostatics are really like basically only for high end. Like, you almost never see electrostatic headphones that are like affordable, really. I've never even tried any. Actually, no, I've tried the Stax headphone in Japan. Yeah, the Stax headphone that I tried in Japan was the hands down the best headphone I've ever heard. It was amazing. But it was also, I think that was like a $6,000 headphone. So again, it was way out of my reach. But I have tried electrostatic headphones. Yes, I've tried the Stax. I think it was the XRX 9000 or something like that. But yeah, that was really good. Yeah, so electrostatics, I would like to listen to more electrostatics. Just, you don't see many headphones like that. They're really expensive and yeah, hard to see. Comes with Class A MOSFET high voltage amplifiers. Class A amps are also pretty expensive usually. They're like, Class A sounds the best generally compared to other amplifier types. So that's also part of the cost. Yep, you gotta have the 99.9% silver-plated OFC cables, expensive cables. Yeah, so anyways, also, I think the internal DAC of this is the ESS Sabre ES9018. Okay, not the most recent DAC, because this is kind of this headphone has been out for a while. So this is not like a recent DAC or anything like that. I think this was a flagship at the time. This was a flagship Sabre DAC at the time. Now the flagship is the ES9039, but I think maybe like over 10 years ago, this was like the flagship Sabre DAC. So anyways, why is it expensive? Well, it comes with this, its own amplifier on granite. It's got this nice granite cutout, and yeah, you have to use it with this amplifier. Well, I think it's electrostatic, so you pretty much have to use it, because electrostatics are kind of tied to amplifiers. If you don't use it with an amplifier, then it basically won't work well. And then you have the tubes, of course, which also add to the cost. Class A amplifier also adds to the cost, so this is a big part of it. And of course, the electrostatic headphones. I mean, I'm sure these are, these cost a lot to design and make, because electrostatic headphones are just not very common. Pretty hard to design, actually. Whoops. Yeah, so here's the product page for Sennheiser HE1. Sennheiser, of course, is a very well-known, famous German headphone and microphone company. Yeah, they're well known for audiophile stuff, particularly headphones and microphones, but they also make sound bars as well. They got into that recently. Yeah, so these are the tubes, which are SC802, hand selected in Germany. Okay. So, they in 1991 they made the Orpheus, I believe, and this is almost like an update of the Orpheus, I think. Yeah, the HE ones. Oh, okay. They use the same stone to make the marble stone. They make the same kind of marble that Michelangelo used for this Renaissance sculptures. Wow, okay. Yep, electrostatic. ASIO compatible. Okay, well, anyways, this is the most expensive headphone in the world. $50,000 US, and hence it makes my list. Okay, actually, wait, was it $60,000? Sorry, $60,000 headphones, not 50,000. All right, next up on my list is actually a cable, and this is the WireWorld Platinum Eclipse 10 speaker cable. Believe it or not, yes, speaker cables can cost a lot of money. I know it sounds crazy, but speaker cables can cost a lot of money. This one, $90,000 Canadian, which is about $60,000 US. So this cost as much as the Sennheiser HG1 headphones, which sounds crazy, but I mean, already those headphones are crazy priced, right? But speaker cables, $60,000 US. Of course, I'm going with the maximum length of 6 meters. If you just go with the minimum 2 meter length, then it's as low as 31,000, right? It goes 6 meters and then it's 91,000. I'm going with 6 meters, and then hence why it makes this list. WireWorld is this really expensive cable manufacturer. So the whole cable debate, whether or not cables make a difference to the sound, everyone talks about this online. It's such a big debate. It's generally a debate between people who can hear the difference. Like, I have an audiophile friend, and he can definitely hear the difference, and he's very, very sensitive to everything, actually. But yeah, especially for like sound, he says he can tell a difference between cables, and he's in that camp. And then there's other people who are like, no, you only tell the difference between cables because of placebo, because your brain or whatever primed you to think that there's a difference, but actually there isn't, because there's no measurable difference between cables and stuff. And there's all these like people going back and forth between each other. It's like, one is like, no, if you can't measure it, then it has no effect. And the other camp is like, well, you don't have to measure everything because not everything's measurable, and I can hear an effect with my ears. And yeah, it's like the group of people who trust their ears are the type who believe in cables, and the other group who only believe in measurements, like the people from audio science world, those are the people who they don't believe in that at all. So anyways, these are for the people who believe in cables and also are rich enough that they can spend $60,000 on one 6 meter cable. Yeah, I mean, think about it. This is a cable, so you're gonna need a bunch of cables in order to put all your equipment together, right? If it's a speaker cable, and then this is just for like one set of cables, right? This is just for one speaker cable. Like, you're gonna need a lot of cables, interconnects, analog cables, digital cables, and man, just imagine how much money you're gonna have to pay to hook all your things up with these cables. This is $60,000 for a single cable. That's crazy. And why? So the design is octo-DNA helix with 8 conductors, 120 insulated strands, and OCC is Ono continuous cast 7 and 99.999% solid silver. I mean, yeah, this is one of those things where like my friends like, yeah, I can hear a difference between copper and silver plated copper and pure silver and stuff. Okay, for people who like that, they can actually hear a difference between these materials. I can't, but apparently he can. So there's people like that who actually can hear the difference between solid silver conductors and like pure copper conductors. And okay, whatever. I can't though. This is like such a minor difference to me. And this is the actual product page here. Yeah, the pure silver or solid silver here, and 8 conductors. Okay. Well, that's all it has, and it has a whole bunch of technologies inside of it, or something like that. And this company has like a whole bunch of technological jargon on their page that they talk about, the Composilex 5 or whatever. Anyways, there's no way that this is even like, how much did it cost to make this cable? not even close to $60,000, right? It's like a fraction of this amount, but whatever. If they can get away with charging this much money, $60,000 for cables. Okay, next up on my list is Past Labs XS300 power amplifier. Past Labs is an American company in California, I believe, that mostly focuses on amplifiers. This is their most expensive amplifier, their biggest, most powerful amplifier, the XS300, 300 watts. Actually, what type of amplifier is this? Does it say? Class A. Okay. Yep. Class A is generally considered to be the best sounding, but least power efficient. Class AB is the one that most people go for because it's a good balance between sound quality and efficiency. Then Class D is the most efficient, but also a lot of people don't like Class D because apparently it doesn't sound as good as Class A or Class AB. But yeah, in general, you guys can think of Class A as being, in general, the best sounding, but also the least efficient. It's going to suck up a lot of juice from your power outlets and stuff. But yeah, 300 watts. It's gonna, yeah, this thing's gonna run pretty hot. Separate chassis for lower electromagnetic noise, noise filters, and those are the specs. This thing weighs 134 pounds, or 172 pounds actually. Yeah, I mean, and this is a monoblock, which means that you're gonna need two of them. Yeah, because it's actually mono. Like monoblocks means that it's only driving one channel, so you actually need two of them. Anyways, $85,000 US each. Wow. Which means you're gonna need two of them. Yeah. So, anyways, this is the price for a single one. Still quite a bit. This is the product page for the XS300. And yeah, this is their flagship reference quality state-of-the-art amplifier. And it employs a separate power supply and amplifier chassis for low noise. Yeah, these are like things that are really like audiophiles will care about. It's like separating the power and everything. Single-ended bias current. Yeah, I mean, this thing looks, I mean, 135 pounds. That's crazy. Yeah, you're gonna need two people just to carry one of them. Yeah, actually 172. I wonder if it's with this other number is because of these two together, but that's crazy. Like, see how big that is? 300 watts, Class A. Okay, so Class A might be the reason why it's so heavy, because yeah, you're using like the power. You're using 100% of the power all the time in the amplifier. So yeah. Anyways, $85,000 US for one of them. I think you're gonna need two of them actually to drive like a stereo. To drive a stereo speakers, right? You're gonna have two speakers because nobody just listens to one speaker, right? You gotta have two speakers, one left, one right. Then you're gonna need two of these. Anyways, Past Labs X300. All right, next on my list is the Bowers & Wilkins Nautilus, which is a very unique speaker. And this is actually the first speaker we see on this list here. Speakers are in general more expensive to design and manufacture compared to anything else, really, because like it can go really high end with speakers. But yeah, Bowers & Wilkins actually has the cheapest speaker on my list with their flagship Nautilus. I think they actually discontinued it. 1993 to 2023, 30 years they made the speaker, they discontinued it, but actually they're still selling the leftover stock, I think, for $115,000 a pair, which is about $85,000 US. Yeah, so it's a little bit, actually it's about the same price as the Past Labs. So yeah, 85,000 bucks, about the same price as the Past Labs amplifier that we just saw. And yeah, this is Bowers & Wilkins' flagship speaker. It looks really unique. Yeah, this is just, it's just kind of a crazy design. Very crazy design. Yeah, I think that this design was in the works for many years, starting the 80s, I believe. John Bowers actually passed John Bowers, the founder of the company, Bowers & Wilkins, he passed this research, I think, to his successor, and then, yeah, and then the many years of R&D went into this. And they were made in the UK. Bowers & Wilkins is a British company, they're a UK company, so yeah, these were all made in the UK. Very unique. Yeah, it's really the ultimate speaker by the original founder, John Bowers. Well, crazy colors too. I've never heard the speaker, of course. It's extremely high end. But yeah, $85,000 for a very unique design, I'd say. Let me look at the specs. It actually doesn't say the drivers. Huh. Yeah, it doesn't actually say much about the drivers, dude. But, let's see, Nautilus. Yeah, I can't find much about the drivers here. But I can see from the appearance that the tweeter is probably up here. Bowers and Wilkins have this unique design where they put the tweeter like separate from the cabinet. They put it right on top. And then these, I guess, this is the woofer, and then this would be like mid-range drivers, I'm guessing. Yeah, anyways, very unique design. Part of the reason why it's so expensive is it's so custom, right? Like you really need a custom. This is a really custom design. Like the tooling for this can't be off the shelf or anything like that. Like it probably takes a long time to make one. So anyways, yeah, the flagship Bowers & Wilkins, the Nautilus. These are, I think this will take a lot of time to handcraft, and took a lot of R&D research to make these, and yeah, and they're made in the UK, all hand-built. All right, next up on my list is the AudioQuest Dragon by-wire combo, which cost 138,000 Canadian dollars originally, but discounted to $109,000. So what a deal, right? No, these also cost $85,000 US. And of course, I'm going with the biggest length here. If you go with 8 feet, then that's 60,000 Canadian. But yeah, only 60,000. But yeah, 15 feet, I'm going with the full. A pair of them, and then with whatever termination. So yeah, $85,000 for these cables. These are the most expensive cables that AudioQuest sells. AudioQuest is a fairly well-known speaker cable manufacturer. They're a speaker cable manufacturer, also make other cables as well. They make all sorts of cables, and they're also well-known for making USB DACs as well, like the Dragonfly. But yeah, they're mostly well-known for cables. And again, just like with Wire World, very contentious because you know, a lot of people say like, you know, how much do cables matter, right? Can you even hear a difference? Is there a difference? Does it really matter? Anyways, the people can hear a difference, and you're rich, then you can buy one of these. And again, one set of these cables, $85,000 US, just one. You're gonna have to buy a bunch of them for each one of your speakers or each one of your amplifiers. Like, just think about how much money these guys are making. That's crazy. But yeah, why does it cost so much? So AudioQuest, they've been around, I think, since the 1980s. Yeah, American company. But I think they were probably one of the first companies to really get in on the speaker cable business, is selling all these high-priced speaker cables. And they also sell power cables. That's another thing, they power cables, right? Do power cables make a difference? Power conditioners to make a difference. But that's another whole other debate. But anyways, they do that too. Solid conductors, perfect surface copper and perfect surface silver. So you have both, I guess. It's not just copper or silver. You have both solid copper and silver. It's a combination of both. Okay. So unlike with Wire World had just pure silver, right? This one is perfect copper and silver combined combination. Zero Tech eliminates electrostatic field between cables, high and low signal conductors. ND Tech minimizes circuit misbehavior. 72 voltage dielectric bias system. Saturates and polarizes the installation, allowing clear dynamic sound against a quiet black background. Okay, no idea what that really even means. Direction controlled. Another thing is, like, are cables directional? Most people who are scientists would say no, but AudioQuest says yes. So anyways, they have some kind of explanation for why cables are directional. And it got an Editor's Choice Award at the Absolute Sound, which I don't trust that review site that much because they always push stuff. But anyways, apparently got an Editor's Choice Award. How, like, $85,000 cables? I mean, okay, man. And it's made in Taiwan. It's not even made in the US. You would think for $85,000 cables they'd be made in the US, but no, they're made in Taiwan. That's crazy. How much must the profit margins be on this? I think it must be higher than Wire Worlds, actually. Even the Wire Worlds must be pretty high. These must be higher than that. Okay, you ready? You guys ready for another speaker cable? All right, here we go. Nordost Odin 2. 70,000 pounds is about 80. This is also about $85,000 or $90,000 US. It's around there, so roughly around the same price as the AudioQuest Dragon By-Wire. Yeah, again, Nordost, another speaker cable company from the US that makes these incredibly expensive high-end cables. Yeah, it's insane. 96 hours of burn-in on this one. That's why I chose anyways. You can buy it with burn-in. Like, this is another thing. Like, do cables even need to be burnt in? But anyways, yeah, you can choose an option to burn them in, I guess. Contact enhancer, Deoxide T Gold G series, length. Okay, so if you get the cheapest one is a 1 meter length. That's really short. That's only 37,000 pounds. But of course you get the 4 meter one, and that's 70,000 pounds after VAT. Anyways, yeah, crazy, right? What a crazy price. Yeah, and this is for the for the maximum length. So the Odin 2, the Supreme reference. This is the top of the line cable for Nordost. 26 silver-plated solid core conductors. Nordost has this dual monofilament technology encased in a high purity class 1003 FEP extrusion. Okay. Terminated with Nordost gold-plated hollow plug spade and Z-plug banana connectors. Okay. What is this hollow plug? They always have these like marketing buzzwords and stuff. Oh, FEP means fluorinated ethylene propylene. They always make like these really scientific sounding stuff, which I'm sure is something that a lot of other cable makers, cheaper cable makers, use as well. Silver plated 99.999% solid core OFC. So it's not even pure silver. I mean, AudioQuest gives us a mix, right? A mix of pure silver and a mix of, yeah, so AudioQuest gives us at least a mix of pure silver and copper. Wire World gives you pure silver for less money. And then Nordost doesn't even give you any, like, it doesn't give you any pure silver. It's silver plated. So it's still a copper underneath. So that's crazy, okay? They're using oxygen-free copper. They're not even using any pure silver in this, and they're still charging this much money. Crazy. So, yeah, we can take a look at the actual product page. More Nordost here. Constructed using 26 silver-plated solid core conductors. It's basically the same thing, and there's nothing else really. There's some specs here that we saw already. The capacitance, velocity propagation, termination. And then you got some testimonials here. I mean, for $85,000 cables, it better be good. But yeah, somebody should A/B test these. $85,000 AudioQuest versus $85,000 Odin 2. Which one's better? Anyways, these cables are crazy, right? You have to buy, like I said, these are cables. So you got to buy one for each of your different components in your chain. So this is just one cable. One cable is $85,000 US. Nuts. Okay, next up on my list is getting up to the 100 grand range now. The Nime Statement amplifier. This is Nime Audio's most expensive amplifier. Nime Audio is a British manufacturer of mostly amplifiers. Yeah, and this is their most expensive one, $100,000 each. So these are, is this for left and right, or these monoblock? I think this is a monoblock, right? I think this is for one mono amplifier, yeah. So you got to buy two of these. Yep, just like with the past labs, right? So you got to buy two of them because they're monoblocks, so they're only for one channel. And then you got to buy two of them for two channels because you're going to use two speakers at least, right, for stereo sound. So yeah, you're going to need to buy two of them. And yeah, so $100,000 each. However, it'll be likely $200,000 if you really want to, you know, power your speakers, which is crazy. But anyways, I'm going by the price individually, so $100,000 each. Okay, the power supply is housed in the base. Each section is divided by an acrylic centerpiece that blocks interaction, and then you got to separate everything. Yeah, we got that. That's what audiophiles care about. Is like everything has to be like separated on the inside to reduce noise and interference and stuff. Okay, two stages. It's physically separated to optimize the amplifier circuit, dedicated voltage stage, and each one uses a 4,000 volt transformer. 746 watts precisely. Okay, so these are actually Wow, 746 watts each. That's crazy. Okay, so the Past Labs one was 300 watts each. This is 746 watts. Although, it doesn't say it's Class A, though. The Past Labs one was Class A. Analog is 1 XLR each. Okay. 746 watts each. And they weigh 101 kilograms each. Wow. It's not even like the Past Labs one was 130 something pounds, right? Or 170 pounds. 100 kilograms is like 230 pounds each. That's crazy. Oh my God. These are 230 pounds each. Oh my God, each of these, and you gotta buy two of them too if you want to power stereo speakers. You gotta buy two of these guys, and they're $100,000 each, and they weigh 230 pounds each. That's insane. This is their product page here. Yep, the pinnacle of NIME is the statement, and NIME is probably most well known for the streamers like the Unity series. And also the Super Nates. I know those are the more popular amplifiers, the Super Nates. Also the I had something by NIME before, the NIME Muso QB. So I had one of their Bluetooth speakers before. So they actually make Bluetooth and home speakers, wireless speakers as well, I think. So yeah, I remember I had the NIME Muso QB as one of my speakers I was putting in my house before. It was okay, but I don't think it was worth the price for sure. I think the Klipsch speakers I had beat it in performance, which were actually cheaper. So NIME definitely makes some like pretty overpriced stuff. But anyways, they're fairly like well known for their high-end amplifiers. The design of this looks like a monolith almost. Yeah. I mean, you can't argue with NIME design. NIME, they know how to design their stuff. Their amplifiers look really beautiful. Like, normally amplifiers don't look that great. They're just like these little black boxes. They're giant black boxes that, you know, just put somewhere and they power your stuff. But NIME actually makes their amplifiers look pretty good. And they actually encourage you to pair it with your full CALs as well, because I think they're part of the same parent company. But yeah, this is their most expensive amplifier, their most expensive product. And it's these giant black monolith amplifier. Yeah, but still well designed. I mean, considering what it is. It's a 230-pound behemoth, and they still relatively well designed. They didn't just make it like a big black box, but they actually put some, you know, curves and stuff in it. So, pretty interesting. Anyways, I do like NIME's design. I think they have a good design team. Yeah, but really expensive. You need to buy two of them too, which means you need to spend at least $200,000 to power stereo speakers. Right, next up on my list is the Monitor Audio HiFi, I think is how you pronounce it, HiFi flagship speaker. It's Monitor Audio is a British speaker company, and this is their new flagship. I think they just came out with this recently. The HiFi. It's the new M-array high and mid frequency driver array and force controlled 8-inch bass, 4 8-inch bass drivers per speaker. And this costs 130,000 Canadian, about $100,000. So this is $100,000 US. Yeah, this is it's a pretty expensive speaker. It's Monitor Audio's new flagship. And yeah, the Monitor Audio always puts a lot of technology into their speakers, which is nice. And I have a few Monitor Audio speakers that on my channel that I've tested before. The Gold 100s, which are pretty high end, I would say. Not really high end, but like fairly high end, I would say. Yeah, it's like $2,000 bookshelf speakers. So I had the Gold 100s, which were pretty big speakers, but looked really nice. It sounded nice too. And I have the Bronze 50s as well. But yeah, Monitor Audio, they've been around since the 70s. Yeah, I like how they put a lot of technology into their speakers, even on the lower end speakers. They have the micropleated diaphragm. This is something that was in their Gold 100 speaker as well, which is basically an air motion transformer tweeter. And they have their rigid diaphragm technology, RDT3 mid drivers. So their woofers they have their proprietary material. And a lot of speaker companies like to put their own proprietary material in their woofer and stuff and their tweeters. But Monitor Audio's technology, they call it MPD3 for their air motion transformer, and the special rigid compound that they put on their mid drivers is RDT3. And other speaker companies may use other things. Like you see speaker companies use Kevlar, aluminum. Some of them, use some treated paper, fiber composite or something. Yeah, so you see all sorts of different material used for mid drivers and woofers because, yeah, you have to be like lightweight. Like you got to be light enough for the thing to move, but also you got to be hard at the same time in order to prevent distortion. So it's an interesting balance when you make a woofer, right? The material of the woofer has to be strong enough to prevent distortion, but also has to be light enough to move. So that's why you have a lot of speaker companies working a lot on the technology of the woofers and the tweeters. So that's the main thing that differentiates each speaker company is the technology about that. And Monitor Audio has got some good technologies there. 2 pairs of 8-inch bass drivers for each speaker. And then it's all made in the UK, which is nice. Also adds to the cost, of course. Very interesting looking speaker. It looks like really like an alien technology almost. Really cool. Yeah, it looks almost like an alien technology. That's very interesting. Looks like this. It's like if aliens were to design speakers, it might look like this. And I guess this whole thing here, is that the grill here or the waveguide? I wonder. This is their product page right here for the HiFi. So I wonder if that grill is combined with the waveguide or something. Now, of course, they tested an anechoic chamber. But yeah, this looks like an alien made it. That's really cool looking. Really cool looking speakers. You can get different colors too. But yeah, that's really cool. It's their flagship speaker. They just came out with it recently, like last year or the year before, and $100,000 each. But hey, you got to give Monitor Audio credit because it looks really cool. And also they definitely, they put a lot of their... This is stuff that came over from their previous high-end, which is the Concept 50 prototype, I think. But then they had the Platinum range of speakers as well, and they have this kind of technology in it. So anyways, Monitor Audio does put a decent amount of technology in their speakers. So anyways, Monitor Audio's flagship, the HiFi. All right, next up on the list is the Meridian Audio DSP 8000 XE, which is 80,000 pounds. I don't think they import these in the US. I haven't seen any retailer in the US sell these, but 80,000 pounds is about $100,000 as well. So it's about the same price as the Monitor Audio HiFins. So Meridian Audio, also a British company. They're probably most well known for their amplifiers, speakers, but also for the MQA technology, which is kind of a controversial technology, let's just say. But Meridian is kind of known for that as well. But yeah, this is Meridian Audio's most expensive product and their flagship speaker, the DSP 8000 XE. And let's see, what about this one? It's pretty cool design. I mean, honestly, not as cool as Monitor Audio's. I think Monitor Audio still has a cooler design because it looks really like sci-fi. But let's take a look at the product page, see if that has more information. DSP 8000 XE. Okay, so does it tell you about more technologies that they're using here on their drivers? I wonder. So it's got bespoke signal mapping. So Meridian's known for a lot of their DSP technology. So they use DSP here to apply tailored crossover filters. Some people think that DSP makes things sound artificial. I know my audiophile friend thinks that, so he doesn't like that. He doesn't even like to use EQ because he thinks that using EQ and DSP makes things sound artificial. Like, I don't know, but this uses DSP. So take that as you will if you like DSP or not. Some people think that it's unnatural and other people are fine with it. It's about the same people who are okay with EQ or not. I generally don't like to EQ, but yes, and my friend doesn't like to EQ either, but a lot of people are fine with EQ. So the E3 base uses specifically designed filters, full frequency alignment, combination digital filters and delays. Okay, and this is just a phase alignment technology here, which a lot of speaker manufacturers have to deal with. Q-Sync. First in, first out buffering system, proactive bass, prevents bass drivers from excursion, and the MQA renderer technology, right? Because this MQA is a Meridian Audio technology that a lot of people don't actually like. I feel like I don't use MQA at all, and MQA is just kind of this format. It's a proprietary format. that yeah, like it's supposed to be competitive with high res formats like DSD, but actually it's not because it's technically not lossless. But it's yeah. Anyways, it's pretty controversial. It's supposedly it's like high res DSD quality, but in a smaller but takes up less space compared to a FLAC or a DSD. But yeah, but I don't know. A lot of people have issues with it because like it uses this proprietary technology where it folds the file, has to unfold it and everything, and there's some voodoo going on that people don't like about it, and plus it's proprietary to Meridian. You got to pay Meridian royalties for it. Yeah, a lot of people don't like that. Audio files, I mean. TrueTime is Meridian's proprietary aphrodizing filter that avoids premiuming. TrueLink is encryption method transferring high definition to audio over SPDIF. FreeQ used to compensate for acoustic problems. Okay. Anything about the drivers here? I see. Okay, so this thing on top here might as well just be a bookshelf speaker, because I see a tweeter here, like a traditional looking tweeter, and then a woofer right here. So I might as well just be a bookshelf speaker. And then I see the rest of the tower here, which I think are just 3 woofers. So you have like 4 woofers and 1 tweeter, looks like. Okay, here we look at the specs here. Mid-range, so you got a built-in amplifiers here. So it's okay, so this is like a powered, okay, yeah, it's a powered speaker. It makes sense because you got DSP in it. So this is actually a powered speaker since it has DSP and everything. So the tweeter has its own amplifier, the mid-range has its own amplifier, the bass amplifiers, you got 6 of them. So you got a whole bunch of built-in amplifiers. So it's a powered speaker. It might be the most expensive powered speaker out there, actually. Then you got 25mm beryllium dome tweeter, very high-end material. That's used in a lot of high-end bookshelf speakers and towers as beryllium tweeters. Then you got 160mm mid-range driver here, and 6 200mm bass drivers. Okay, I see. And they weigh 243 pounds each. Wow. Okay, yeah, so you got these 3 bass drivers here, and then you got a mid-range, and then you got a tweeter. Okay, that makes sense. Anyways, $100,000. I still like the look of the monitor audio better, honestly. And plus the DSP stuff going on in here, it's very like, yeah, a lot of people might have issues with that. A lot of purists might have issues with the built-in DSP and amplifiers and stuff. It's a powered speaker, basically. It's a very expensive powered speaker. It's probably the most expensive powered speaker you can get on the market. So anyways, that's the Meridian DSP 8000 XC. All right, next up, is the Lin 360. It's $105,000, so it really is roughly around the same price as the Meridian and the Monitor Audio is. So this is Lin Audio's most expensive product. Yes, believe it or not, Lin Audio is a British company that's most well known for making the LP12 Sondeck turntable. However, their most expensive product is not related to turntables, and it's not related to their streamers either, even though they make expensive streamers. It's actually their speaker. So they make this giant speaker, this flagship speaker called the Lin 360, $105,000. It's their most expensive product. It's more expensive than any of their turntables and any of their streamers, which is already pretty expensive. I mean, that's saying a lot because Lin products are always extremely expensive. But yeah, $105,000 is their most expensive, and it's a speaker. So let's see. Vinyl record conscious. Okay, so design of this is a little bit more in the old school fashion compared to Meridian and Monitor Audio. I think Lin did that on purpose because they're well known for their turntables, which gives them more of a vintage vibe. So they wanted to look a little bit more vintage. 360 is audibly invisible. Produces a performance of unprecedented clarity, realism. Okay. I mean, this is all nice fluffy talk, but I can never demo any of these, but I assume they better be transparent for this price. Curved front speaker, they're curved. Okay. And then talking about the finish and okay, and then and this is talking about their amplifiers and along with their streamers. So they use the exact amplifiers and the Climax DSM, which is their flagship streamer. This alone sells for like $60,000, by the way, the Climax DSM. And then the integrated exact sells for like tens of thousands as well. Yeah, like Lin stuff is pretty expensive, but yeah, this is more expensive than any of that. Adaptive bias control amplifier technology. Power DAC technology. Okay. And then Lin has a homegrown DAC converter inside of it. Okay, I wonder what it's their own inbuilt in-house DAC, and then exact technology, which is basically a phase alignment. Okay, so their exact technology is basically phase alignment that's built in as well. Look at the specs. Is four-way. Four-way means that you have like each of the crossovers is going to cross over at 4 different frequencies. So yeah, the crossover is going to be a bit more complicated because of that. Exact Digital is the type of their proprietary crossover technology, I guess. Power deck technology for the base system. Adaptive bias control. Space optimized. It has room correction built in. That's interesting. That means they have digital technology in it. Then I wonder. Oh no, it's not. Yeah, I don't think this is not powered like the Meridian is. The Meridian speakers were actually powered. This one has to connect to a Lin network music player to have the room correction. Okay, yes, yeah, so it's still passive. It's not really powered. But yeah, $105,000, almost the same price as the monitor audio, just a little bit more expensive than the monitor audio and the Meridian. But yeah, that's what it looks like. I'm gonna look at the product page here. It's audibly invisible. Yeah, it better be for that price. Yep, I'm talking visibly remarkable. Oh, here it says $97,000. Interesting. Okay, that would actually put it at $75,000 US. Huh. Okay. Well, anyways, it says 100,000 here because I think there's 2 versions of this speaker. So if you go down here, this is pretty much the same thing that we saw before, written in the blurb. Adaptive bias control, basic system, power DAC technology, organic, DAC architecture, exact, space optimization. Yeah, so there's 2 versions. There's 360 passive with active bass and a 360 exact integrated. So actually, this integrated version is the one that's $100,000 or $105,000. This passive one is the one that's cheaper. So the passive one's like $75,000, I think, and the exact integrated is $100,000, I think. So yeah, they're both 4-way. They both have this exact technology, except the difference is that this crossover is a digital crossover instead of this analog crossover. And because it's a digital crossover, it comes with the space optimization technology. Okay. Yeah. So the more expensive version, this 100,000 version, comes with digital technology inside of it. So which means you had to power it. Yeah. So it has its own power supply probably. Okay. Comes with a 19mm dome tweeter. It doesn't say what kind of material. Just says dome tweeter. It doesn't. So I don't know what is a hard dome or soft dome or whatever. Mid-range is a 64mm carbon dome. Interesting. Upper base is a 190mm aluminum magnesium cone. Lower base is 220mm long throw aluminum cone ×2. And then it comes a bunch of different finishes. Glasgow, signature, collection. So you can come in any custom trim, as you would expect, you know, for a speaker of this price. And weighs about 70 kilograms. So yeah, this is like almost like 100, almost 200 pounds, I would say, close to 200 pounds. Anyways, it's something that's pretty heavy, as you would expect for a big expensive speaker like this. But yeah, it comes with essentially yeah, two woofers, well, two subwoofers essentially. 2 subwoofers, one and then one mid-range driver, 1 woofer, and then 1 tweeter. So yeah, this is the 2 subwoofers, I'm guessing, the 1 mid-range driver, and then 1 tweeter. Okay, anyways, that's the Lin 360. Some people might be surprised that Lin Audio's most expensive product is not a streamer and is not a turntable. It's actually a speaker. But yeah, $100,000 for their more expensive one, the exact integrated one. Okay, next up is the Martin Logan Neolith, which is Martin Logan's most expensive speaker, and it comes in $150,000 Canadian, which is around $120,000 US, I'd say. These are all made by hand in the US. Martin Logan is a US company. Martin Logan is probably most well known for electrostatic speakers. Probably the most, I think Quad, yeah, Quad and Martin Logan are probably the most well-known electrostatic speaker companies right now. Yeah, and Quad is a pretty good speaker company too, although they don't make anything as expensive as this. Yeah, the Neolith is, yeah, this is just, I mean, just look at it. It's basically the modern version of the Martin Logan Monolith, which I think was their first speaker, or one of their first speakers that they made. They started, I think, in the 80s. Yeah, they started in the 80s, and then they gradually became like the most well-known electrostatic speaker company. I own a few Martin Logan speakers, although they're not electrostatic. They're the cheaper motion line. But I like Martin Logan speakers quite a bit. I actually got to hear some of their electrostatics when I went to a showroom before, and they just sounded amazing. 3D holographic imaging, you know, you hear these words tossed around, but I can really say that that was true when I heard the Martin Logan, not the Monolith. I didn't hear the Monolith. I heard their cheaper electrostatics. Yeah, it's probably their Renaissance, I think, that I heard. But yeah, you're breathtaking. Yeah. Anyways, this is the giant curved electrostatic panel. The Neolith has the biggest one that Martin Logan makes, and they have the woofer right here, because usually electrostatic panels, they don't produce good bass, so you got to add in a woofer to counteract that. So yeah, I would say that Martin Logan is probably at the forefront of electrostatic speaker technology, and they tell you a bit about how electrostatic speakers work. Diaphragms charged in electrostatic field, fixed positive voltage, and these charges occur in alternating pulses. And then Martin Logan uses the curvilinear line source electrostatic panel design, so they make the panel curved so it has a wider sweet spot. If you don't curve the panel, then you just have like one sweet spot here, which is not good for listening. Then you curve the panel and you have a wider sweet spot so that everyone can hear the great sound. And you can see the specs here. Yeah, so the high frequency transducer is an XStat CLS electrostatic transducer, which is a very large radiating area, which is one of the benefits of electrostatics. The low frequency is a rear 15-inch cast basket rigid aluminum cone woofer. Yeah, and a 12-inch round cast aluminum alloy flame rigid carbon fiber sandwich cone. Yeah, so basically it's a huge electrostatic panel on top, and then that's for the mid-range and the highs, and then for the lows you have two woofers. Actually, they have two woofers, one 15-inch on the rear and one 12-inch on the front. The cabinet is phenolic resin polymer, and then they can customize it to whatever you want. It's made to order. High pass crossover 1% resistors, and they're pretty proud of their Vodco crossover technology, I guess. Yeah, and it weighs 385 pounds. So again, this is something you're going to need like a team of people to really bring to your house. 385 pounds each. And with this is what? 150,000. Okay, this is for per pair. Okay, so 120,000. Oh man, 385 pounds. Is that together or each? But either way, that's heavy. Wow. Yeah, so this is what the woofer looks like here. There's one on the front, one on the back. But yeah, this is Martin Logan's most expensive speaker. $120,000 US electrostatic. Probably the top end electrostatic speaker that you can get on the market today. All right, next up on the list is is actually not a speaker or an amplifier. It's a turntable. So it's the Transrotor Artis FMD turntable, which retails for $200,000 Canadian or $150,000 US. Transrotor is a Canadian company. It says Transrotor Canada up here. Hope you guys can see that. Features a combination polished aluminum black acrylic chassis, 80mm acrylic platter. Cadanic suspension allows the turntable to move freely. Leveling rotor ring FMD free magnetic drive bearing. Option to equip 2 9-inch, 12-inch tone arm board. And then this is just a very over-engineered turntable, and you would expect this for expensive turntables. This thing looks like very industrial. And the funny thing is, like, yeah, people love vinyl. I know vinyl lovers, like, they get crazy about it. They spend a lot of money on cartridges, on tone arms, on, like, you know, isolating the vibration from the turntable. They gotta have, like, you know, plinths and stuff to put their turntable on top of, and then they of course spend a lot on the turntable itself. The thing is, all this, and it's never going to be as accurate as a CD. Honestly, like a CD player, digital you know, digital audio is always going to be like have more dynamic range and be more accurate than vinyl records. That's just the nature of the technology. But people still love vinyl because it's got this natural, organic, warm sound to it. Yet they like the physicality of it. They like being able to collect it. Yeah, so there's still lots of reasons why people prefer vinyl, but it's just never going to reach the same level as CD when it comes to technicality. But despite that, people still pay apparently $150,000 for stuff like this. If you're rich, I guess, and you love vinyl, then you collect vinyl records, then $150,000 for something like this that will just, at best, come close to CD, but not even match CD. So it's like, because your vinyl records is still going to degrade over time, right? So like whatever's analog is going to degrade over time compared to digital. So yeah, so all this, spending all this money just to get closer and closer to CD. It's just kind of funny. I find that funny. Yeah, so anyways, cardanic suspension, FMD bearing, 3 motors, and it weighs 220 kilograms, which is what, over 400 pounds or 500 pounds? I mean, that's insane. That's wow. This is like 400, 500 pounds for this device just to play a turntable. Supports 2 tone arms. I don't really know why you need 2, but apparently for high-end turntables you can have 2. Okay, well, yeah. That's a pretty expensive turntable, guys. $150,000 US or 200,000 Canadian for this. It better be made in Canada, actually, for this price. Anyways, turntables can get pretty expensive too. Next up on the list, another speaker, the Focal Grand Utopia EM Evo, $200,000 Canadian or $150,000 US. So about the same price as that turntable, but it's Focal's flagship speaker. So Focal is a French company. They're well known for making speakers since the 70s and also headphones since the 2010s. So yeah, they're well known for both headphones and speakers, but by far their most expensive product is their speakers compared to the headphones. Their headphones are really high-end too, but I mean, there's no comparison. Just when you compare speakers to headphones, the most expensive headphone cannot compare to the most expensive speakers, right? Speakers are always going to be more expensive on the high end. So you can see the technologies that Focal uses here: W membrane, perfectly defined mid-range and bass. They manufacture their own membranes. TMD suspension. Tuned mass damper technology with harmonic dampening. Okay, beryllium tweeter, again, very high-end material for a tweeter. Developed and patented by Focal. Interesting. Were they the first ones to use beryllium? Who knows? Paradigm also uses them as well, I think, and a few other speaker companies. Woofer, electromagnetic motor, 33 centimeter W woofer. So I like that Focal talks a lot about their technologies, just like Monitor Audio does. OPC plus filter. 243 possible combinations. OPC plus filtering. So this is the crossover. This is all talking about the crossover, right? Crossover technology. Power flower technology brings together several stacked ferrite rings distributed on the central core. Very high magnetic power, very high magnetic energy. Gamma structure, anti-vibration cabinet. We use MDF, of course. NIC technology, NIC, neutral inductance circuit technology. Faraday ring. Yeah, a lot of technology in here. That's good. But yeah, this is definitely a really high-end speaker. 16-inch W woofer, 2 6.5-inch W mid-range drivers with TMD suspension, and a beryllium 1-inch tweeter. Yeah, and weighs 584 pounds. Holy crap. That's even more than that turntable. Things just getting more and more heavier as we move up. 584 pounds. Wow. Is that for one of them or both? If that's just for one speaker, wow. Yeah, that's really, really heavy. And this is the product page, handcrafted in France. Well, it better be for this price. Comes in many finishes. I mean, it looks more modernish. I mean, again, probably more similar to that Lin speaker. I still like the alien look of the Monitor Audio speaker that we saw, and also the Nautilus has a really unique look from Bowers and Wilkins as well. But yeah, this just looks like more of like a modernish type look. I think they probably copied like the Wilson's kind of design, Wilson Audio's kind of design. I think this is like reminiscent of that. But yeah, still kind of unique, cool, modern. It's almost like a jointed, like an insect or something like that, like jointed. Okay. Yeah, so the same thing that we saw here. Technologies, yeah, woofer, beryllium, tweeter, W membrane. And of course they ask you to pair it with NIME. Probably the statement amplifier is what you want to pair it with. I mean, if you're going to be a multi-millionaire or a billionaire, then you might as well go all the way and pair it with the expensive $100,000 amplifier from NAME. Actually, 200,000, right? Because you're going to need two of them. So, anyways, yeah, the Grand Utopia EM Evo, $150,000 for this, I think. All right, from Focal. Next is Macintosh XRT 2.1K. So this is the most expensive product by Macintosh, and again, those of you who know Macintosh might be surprised because it's not one of their amplifiers. Macintosh is most well known for their amplifiers, their tube amplifiers, their hybrid amplifiers, but no, their most expensive product is this speaker. So just like with Lin, you guys might be surprised to know that Macintosh is a very historic, well-known American amplifier company. They're well known for making very expensive amplifiers, but yeah, their most expensive product is a speaker. It's called the XRT 2.1K. And let's see. This thing has 6 woofers, 8-inch woofers. The woofer is made of nanocarbon fiber Nomex honeycomb long throw. And then you got 2 low frequency, 28 upper frequency. Wow, that's a lot of... wait a minute, what the heck? 28... upper frequency, 2 low frequency, 45 tweeters. I gotta take a look more at this. This weighs 468 pounds. Okay, so this is a little bit lighter than the Focal, but still incredibly heavy, 468 pounds. But let's take a look more at the speaker technology. That's really interesting. They have a lot of speakers going on here. What a unique design by Macintosh here. And what also really stands out to me is they don't have the typical Macintosh look because it's not amplifier. It doesn't have like the 2 blue VU meters that Macintosh usually has. It's because it's a speaker, I guess they couldn't put it in there. Or maybe they could have. Like they maybe could have put built-in VU meters just for looks. But no, they didn't put in the speaker. That's only for the amplifiers. But wow, they put in a lot of stuff here. A lot of speakers in this, I mean a lot of drivers, I should say. A lot of drivers in this one speaker. Look at this. Look at all the drivers here they put in this speaker. That's crazy. They really put 45 tweeters? It's like if someone copy and pasted a whole bunch of tweeters and woofers here. And mid-range drivers here. What the heck? I just can't believe this is an actual design. It's like someone copy and pasted a whole bunch of mid-range drivers and tweeters onto a board and put it onto this speaker here. But I guess it works. It must. It's 7 feet tall. And then it uses a line array speaker principles to produce sound dispersion. Okay. 81 drivers. Wow. 81 drivers. So you got 6 8-inch woofers, 2 6.5-inch low frequency mid-range, 28 2-inch upper frequency mid-range, and 45 tweeters. Wow. 81 drivers. That's crazy. That's crazy. Wow. 81 drivers on this, and of course this entire room's Macintosh, but 81 drivers on this speaker. That's insane. How did they even engineer that? Like you got to think about it, right? So this costs 210,000 Canadian, which is about 160,000 US. So it's a little bit more expensive than the Focal, but look, the Focal has 5 drivers here, right? The Macintosh is 81, and it's a little bit more expensive, not by much, but it's a little bit more expensive than the Focal, but it's got 81 drivers. I mean, if you guys subscribe to the belief that more is better, then yeah, go for the Macintosh, man. Solid cinch speaker binding posts. Okay. I think that's the thing that stands out the most to me about this speaker is, wow, 81 drivers. That's crazy. 45 tweeters and a total of 30 mid-range drivers and 6 woofers. That's crazy. 468 pounds, of course. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, What a weird design. Unique and weird. I don't think there's any other design like this. Yeah, 81 drivers in a single speaker. That's crazy. Okay. Anyways, that's Macintosh's most expensive product, guys. It's their $160,000 speaker that has 81 drivers in it. Not any one of their amplifiers. Although their amplifiers can be pretty expensive too, but it's not one of their amplifiers. Okay, I'm gonna add another one I found out about recently. This is Kondo Audio Note. They're a Japanese hi-fi company. Very boutique, and they make some very high-end audio equipment. Yeah, these are their Kagura 2i monoblock amplifiers. I believe these are for two of them, but still, I mean, 169,000 euros is roughly about $200,000 US, I would say. So, yeah, this is pretty expensive. Let's read more about this. These are two tube amplifiers, actually. So monoblock tube amplifiers. Interesting. So let's see. It's configured 12 AU7, 6S and 7 times 2. These are actually kind of common tubes to find. They're not like really expensive tubes, or, well, there could be expensive ones depending on the brand, but they're not like 300B tubes or something. 6S and 7, like, yeah, you can find those cheap. Like I remember I had this X Duo output transformerless headphone amplifier, OTL headphone amplifier, is using 6S, S and 7. So yeah, and 12AU7 is a very common tube even among guitar amplifiers, like preamp tubes, that is. These circuits are independently powered by Grand School Low Ripple power supply sections, 3 power supply transformers, B power supply transformers, okay, 4 choke coils. Okay, 4 choke coils and 3 power supply transformers. Okay, that's quite a bit, but wow, I don't see what makes this $200,000 though. Manual wiring, 211 output. No, 211 output tubes. It can't be 211 tubes. 211 output tubes, I think. Okay, large capacitors. Okay, I mean, they look good. They look hand wired and everything, which is nice, but yeah. Amplification stages, electrode, oscillation proof silver foil capacitors, cut core type and new drastic. Okay, so choke coils, pure silver coiled output transformer, power cable. Obviously, it's going to be expensive power cable too, 62 kilograms. Yeah, definitely. That would be like over what, 150 pounds or something like that. No, 100 and yeah, maybe like 100 over, definitely over 120. So yeah, maybe like 150-ish pounds. RCA times 1, XLR times 1. Okay, well, anyways, 2 211 vacuum tubes, 2 6 S and 7 tubes, 1 12AU7, 4 GZ34. By the way, these are rectifier tubes. I remember the GZ34 because I had them in my tube amplifier. One of my tube amplifiers, a Swart, I think, had it. But yeah, I don't see how this could be 200,000, but especially as a tube amplifier, so it's not going to output as much wattage as a solid state for sure. Power consumption is 270 watt. What's the rated power? Yeah, 50 watts. You're paying $200,000 for a 50 watt tube amplifier. So I guess like 50 watt tube amplifier is pretty powerful for a tube amplifier. You normally see tube amplifiers outputting 8 to 10 watts. So 50 watts is definitely pretty high for a tube amplifier, but this is what you pay for it, $200,000. Oh man, crazy. So, I mean, monoblock amplifiers, as you see with the NIME audio, right? They can easily like push hundreds of watts of output if they're solid state. But if it's a tube amplifier, I guess this is the highest, possibly one of the highest end tube amplifiers you can get. And yeah, 50 watts is about how much you can get for that. So anyways, yeah, that's the Kondo Audio Note Kagura 2i monoblocks. Definitely a fairly expensive pair of tube amplifiers. Yep. Okay, next up is the DCS Verese music system. Now this one is kind of cheating because it's not just one thing, it's like a system, but $216,000 US. I mean, yeah, it's for everything together. It's the Verese core system and a bunch of DACs on it, master clock, transport, DACs and stuff all combined together. They sell this as a single product though, so it does count, I think. DCS is a British company. They're well known for making very expensive amplifiers and stuff. And I actually listened to a DCS system before when I was in Japan. When I was in Tokyo, I remember when I was, it was not the Stax one. The Stax actually had to use its own separate amplifier. But I think it might have been some of the other really high-end headphones, like the Focal Utopia that I was testing, and the Dan Clark Carinas, and maybe the HiFi Vara as well. When I was testing those really expensive headphones, they the people at the Japanese headphone shop hooked me up with this DCS music system, and I don't think it was this one though. It was not this one, but it was one of their other expensive music systems, and man, it sounded amazing. But yeah, I have listened to DCS stuff before. All their stuff is pretty expensive though. But yeah, this system combines the core, which is supports more high-res formats and major streaming services, and then the mono DACs. And I think this is a proprietary DAC. I'm not sure what kind of DAC that they have here, but it's a proprietary DAC. They've got a master clock, which is improving jitter and stuff like that. So when you go up really, really high end into the HiFi components, you can buy separate stuff like this, like master clocks and stuff like that. Most people will not even care about, but audiophiles might care about. Just to improve jitter and stuff like that, clocking signal, user interface, remote control, and you got some app, ring DAC, yeah. DCS Tomix is patented clocking technology. So they have a lot of technology inside of here, yeah, related to the DACs and to the master clock. And well, I mean, combined together, well, you got 32 pounds, 35 pounds, 41 pounds, 41 pounds, 73 pounds. All together, it's like 200-ish pounds, maybe. Yeah, so I mean, it's obviously, again, another really heavy piece of equipment here. 2 balanced outputs, 2 unbalanced outputs. Ethernet, USB Type A for digital, for mass storage devices. And digital output, world clock I/O. Yeah, this is their complete music system here that combines like a DAC with master clocks. I don't think it's an amplifier though. Yeah, it's actually not even an amplifier. It's just actually just a DAC and user interface master. So it's like a streamer with DACs and a master clock and this core thing. It's not actually an amplifier. So I think you actually have to hook this up to an amplifier. Yeah, this is actually something that you would use to store music, to play music from. So in a sense, it's kind of like a preamp. Yeah, this is essentially just a really expensive preamp system, I think. You still have to hook it up to a power amp, I think. Yeah, so so DAC preamp system essentially. Mono DACs here. Then you got the master clock, which is again something that would normally be in a preamp, I would say. Or in a DAC. It would normally be in a DAC and a preamp. Yeah. So master clock's their user interface. Again, something that would again be in a preamp or DAC or integrated amp. Remote control. Looks like that. And then you got the app. And it comes with a really expensive cable. It should. Actus. Differential ring DAC. Yeah, so you got the ring DAC here, differential ring DAC, and you got the Tomix clock synchronization system, I guess. Yeah, I think just what's amazing about this device is that it's just essentially a really expensive giant preamp system. Yep, that's essentially what it is. Because like all this stuff, the user interface, the master clock, the DACs, this is all stuff that would normally be in a preamp DAC system. So yeah, there's no amplifier here. So basically, after you spend your $216,000 buying this, you also had to buy another amp for this to feed into. So yeah, so yeah, this is just a really expensive preamp and DAC. Yeah, and then you would feed it into a power amp, like a mono block after this, true mono blocks or something. Yep, you had to buy an amp separately. Okay, next up is another pair of speakers. It's the KEF Muon, which costs around about $225,000 US or $300,000 Canadian. And now this is a really cool looking speaker. I mean, just look at it. It's just giving me the monitor audio vibes, right? The hyphen vibes. Yeah, it looks really Again, very futuristic. Looks like something designed by an alien. Yeah, except this is more expensive than the monitor audio, of course. So KEF, pretty well-renowned, high-end British speaker company. I think they're probably most well-known for their UniQ driver array. So that's been in many of their speakers, actually. Yeah, like the LS50 Meta and the LSX. They're well-known for those speakers. Ross Lovegrove is their main designer. And yeah, this looks like something that Alien designed. It's really cool. And I guess this is Ross Lovegrove right here, right? Standing beside it. He's so proud. It's a remarkable feat of sound engineering, cutting-edge design. Yep. So it's the UniQ drive unit array. That's what KEF is known for. The UniQ driver is really unique because it has the tweeter situated in the middle of the woofer. So if you ever see a UniQ driver, it's pretty interesting looking. That's how KEF makes their designs really unique looking. Actually, KEF has a very distinctive design. These speakers, because it looks like it has one driver, but actually it's two, because the tweeter is actually inside of the woofer. So that's usually how the UniQ drivers work. So KEF's UniQ driver places the tweeter in the acoustic center of the mid-range cone. Basically, yeah, that's what I said. You can look at the specs of the Muon. So it's a four-way. Again, you're going to need a pretty complicated crossover for that. Crossover frequencies is 120, 300, and 2.3 kilohertz. So you got three crossover frequencies for a four-way. 253 pounds. So that's relatively light compared to some of the things that we've seen recently. It's of course still heavy, but it's lighter than that Focal speaker. Man, that Focal was like 500 something pounds. You got 6 250 millimeter low frequency drivers and one 250 millimeter low mid frequency driver. And then the UniQ driver array is 125 millimeter 5-inch lithium, magnesium, aluminum LCP hybrid cone and 1-inch vented aluminum dome, featuring KEF's unique tangerine waveguide. Huh, interesting. Okay. Anyways, really cool looking speaker. This like alien design right here. You have that UniQ driver right in the middle, but then you have all these other woofers along with it, I guess. And this is at the back of the speaker. You have these two at the back of the speaker as well, the two woofers there. So very interesting, unique. Looks alienish design. $225,000 US approximately. Yep, pretty high up there. Okay, next one. Let's get the Steinway Lingdorf Model LS concert system, $264,000. So yeah, this is again, this is like not one speaker, but it's kind of a speaker system. But to be fair, it does come together, so as one unit. So the Model LS speakers, let's take a look at the actual page here. The LS concert, I should say, Steinway and Sons. So you guys might be familiar with Steinway and Sons if you're a musician. They're probably the most famous piano brand. They're very historic, very high-end American piano brand, and they're most well known for making pianos. I don't think many people know that they also have a collaboration with Lingdorf, which is a Danish high-end amplifier company. Peter Lingdorf, by the way, the founder of Lingdorf, is previously founded other companies like DALI, Danish Audiophile Loudspeaker Industries as well. But yeah, Lingdorf is a very high-end Danish amplifier brand, and Steinway, the piano brand, actually did a collaboration brand with them, and now they're called Steinway Lingdorf. And the most expensive product is the LS Concert right here. So yeah, hence this is their $260,000 speaker system, their most expensive system. Yeah, I mean, their stuff is pretty expensive, as you might think of. A brand with anything brand is Steinway. I mean, that's already pretty premium. So they took what they had in their flagship Model D, which is already pretty. That's another one of their expensive speakers. And over 8 and 6.5 each, 5 feet tall. Okay. They look like this. They look like a giant skyscraper. Funny, right? They look like a giant New York skyscraper, and Steinway, I think, is headquartered in New York. It's a very tall and slim loudspeaker because several tweeters and mid-range drivers are arranged on a tall vertical line. which gives an even, consistent sound radiation in a room. And this is interesting, this little angle here, because it reminds you of piano strings, doesn't it? So, I mean, Steinway, piano, right? This grill is really reminiscent of a piano strings. I like how they did that design. Dipole design tweeters, mid-range drivers, mounted in extremely rigid open aluminum frame. Uses the company's own air motion transformer tweeters and a line array. So these are air motion transformer tweeters, AMT tweeters. Ultra thin folded captive diaphragm. Yeah, so they use AMT tweeters all throughout. So let's see here. It weighs 161 pounds, which is relatively light. Again, this is lighter than most of the other high-end speakers we've seen, 161 pounds. But wonder how many drivers it has. It actually doesn't say. I'm gonna look at the fact sheet here. I'm curious, this fact sheet actually. And it's made in Denmark, which I guess is a nod to the fact that it's a collaboration with Lingdorf. So, anyways, Steinway Lingdorf, yeah. It's basically a collaboration between the Steinway piano brand with Lingdorf, a high-end Danish amplifier company. That actually, probably Lingdorf, what I would know them for is their very, very good room correction technology called Room Perfect. And Room Perfect is, I think many people who have used it has said it's the best room correction software. It's better than Dirac Live, it's better than Anthem, and obviously better than Odyssey as well. So, yeah, a lot of people said that Room Perfect is really, really good, and maybe even better than Trinov's Room Optimizer. Who knows? But anyways, Steinway Lindorf Ellis Concert. This is a $260,000 for this whole system. All right, getting up there. Next one is going to be the Daniel Hertz M1 Maria 800, $345,000 Canadian, which is about $260,000 US. So really about the same price as this. Really like 265, yeah, maybe somewhere around there. Around the same price as the Steinway system. The Daniel Hertz. So Daniel Hertz is an interesting, like it's a boutique brand. The founder of Daniel Hertz is Mark Levinson. Those of you guys who are in audiophile world might know of Mark Levinson, right? He's this name is so he was one of the pioneering American like amplifier designers back in the day in the 70s, and he made some really highly regarded amplifiers back then. Now his name is used for a lot of high-end amplifiers still, in CD players and stuff. But Daniel Hertz is his new company, and it's even more high-end than any Mark Levinson stuff. So yeah, Daniel Hertz, the M1, and this is the Daniel Hertz most expensive product right now. So let's see here. It doesn't give me actually too much information on what drivers it's choosing. Obviously, I can tell that it's got two big drivers here and then one tweeter. Okay, let's look at the Daniel Hertz website here. The bi-amplified M1. Yeah, so the founder, Mark Levinson, is obviously famous in the world of audiophiles. Like, in the world of audio, it's a pretty well-known name. And Vienna Music Room chose the Daniel Hertz M1. So what's interesting is Daniel Hertz is actually not an American company, even though Mark Levinson is American. I think it's actually headquartered in Switzerland. So it's actually a Swiss company. But, so it's a three-way, 330 pounds. Yeah. I mean, what was surprising was the Steinway & Sons one was pretty light. This is only like 165. This is like double the weight of the Steinway. Interestingly, it doesn't tell me what drivers they use, what kind of materials in the drivers. Looks, yeah, the specs don't say anything about the drivers. And certainly this does not contain as many drivers as some of the other speakers we saw. So this is the Venice edition. Yeah, I wonder, like for this price, $265,000, you would think there would be more drivers here, but maybe Mark Levinson wanted to keep it simple, I don't know. But if you compare it to like the Steinway, for example, like the Steinway has a whole bunch of drivers here. Actually, it doesn't tell me how many, but it has a whole bunch of drivers here. It's just like with the Macintosh. The Macintosh had a whole bunch of drivers here as well. Daniel Hertz keeps it more traditional, simple, I guess, even though it's just as expensive. Well, anyways, the Daniel Hertz M1. Next one is the Clear Audio Statement V2 turntable here, $275,000 US. Really expensive turntable. Clear Audio is a German company. They make a whole range of expensive turntables. This is their flagship. So limited edition. It's hand-built and engineered. Combination of stainless steel, acrylic, aluminum, and Panzerholz, which is bulletproof wood. Huh, interesting. Okay, a stainless steel platform. The motor is driven, controlled by built-in processor, checks the speed 7,000 times each minute. Main platter, subplatter are from polyoxymethylene. And 4 mounting bases attached top. Mecker clamp, okay. So patented magnetic driver subplatter. No contact with the main platter, that's very important. Everything has got to be separated in high-end audio, right? Magnetic vertical platter bearing. Card and turntable chassis suspension. Horizontal leveling device. 80 kilogram pendulum weight. High-speed microprocessor controlled drive unit. Man, talk about over-engineering when we talk about turntables, right? Yeah, polyoxymethylene platter. 770 pounds. Wow. The most heaviest thing that we've seen on my list so far. I don't think there would be anything heavier. 770 pounds. That's like more than 2 of these Daniel Hertzes. Oh my god, for one of these. Crazy. You think you would get lifetime warranty with something like this. But yeah, so the Clear Audio Statement. 78 RPM, 45 and 33. They couldn't bother to make a separate switch for 78. I wonder what cartridge it comes with this kind of turntable. $275,000 turntable here. Wow. I mean, it looks like, again, these high-end turntables all look like there's something very industrial looking. Almost looks like it's workout equipment. Is that just me? It looks like workout equipment. Look at this. It looks like weights. No, that's funny. Yeah, it looks like weights. Anyways, this is the page here, the statement. Take the best and make it better. Only then will it be good enough. It doesn't even tell you what cartridge it uses. It's made of aluminum, stainless steel, and bulletproof wood. High torque, 24 volt DC motor. Decoupled DC motor. Everything has to be decoupled. 350 kilograms. Yeah, over 700 pounds for this thing. Damn. Anyways, very, very high-end turntable. Looks like very industrial-ish. By far the heaviest thing that we've seen yet on my list. Though the piano black version is even more expensive, 300,000. Wow. 300,000, guys. Okay, yeah, 300,000. So $300,000 for this, basically, if you get it in piano black, which looks like this. Next up on my list is the Dan D'Agostino Relentless Epic 1600 monoblock amplifier for $350,000. Oh man, okay. And it's just a monoblock amplifier, so you got to buy 2 of them because they're monoblocks. So, oh, actually, price listed is for a pair. Never mind. So actually, it's a little bit better. $350,000 for 2. Still obviously incredibly expensive, but yeah, very unique design. Dan D'Agostino, very boutique brand. The name of this, this is a guy who founded the company, and why he's really well known is because he used to be the main designer for Krell. Krell is another high-end audio company that has been in business for many years, I think since the 80s, designing high-end amplifiers and stuff. So yeah, he was like the main designer of Krell for many, many years, and now he made his own company, which is even higher end, so kind of like similar to Mark Levinson. So yeah, Krell was already high end, and then yeah, this is similar to Mark Levinson, I guess. When they make their own companies, they become even more higher end. So let's see, then this is the Dan D'Agostino's most expensive product, the mono amplifier. A 5.5 kilowatt power supply. Definitely not going to bring that on any planes. 1600 watts. Wow. Crazy. And when it's connected to 220 volt or greater, it doubles its output to 3200 watts. Crazy. Well, definitely a lot of power in this thing. Activating driver stage, around 50% increase Class A operation. So it is Class A, I guess. Class A operation. I think it would be with this kind of price level. Custom made Darwin brace. basic, what is it? Transformer is a custom design rectifier circuit. Loudspeaker control. 33% more power for device. Yeah, it does look really unique. I have to give props to Dan D'Agostino because he makes some pretty unique looking amplifiers, that's for sure. Yeah, 570 pounds. I mean, you're getting into really, really expensive heavy equipment at this point. That's the specs. We can look at the actual page itself. An amplifier born to conquer, a velvet hammer. Yeah, so this is basically talking about it, and this is the design of the monoblock inside. Something's got to be going on there for it to be weighing 500 pounds, right? I mean, monoblocks are actually really, really heavy usually. This thing provides 1600 watts of power. I mean, that's crazy. Class A operation, which means it's very inefficient. No wonder it has a 5.5 kilowatt charger. Jesus. Okay. Basically, yeah, this is telling about just how amazing it is and how awesome it is, basically. And okay, just got that output plus and minus. So monoblocks are just like these giant monolithic looking devices, right? Yeah, and it looks very simple on the back. That's the thing about power amplifiers, is like it's like the opposite of preamplifiers. Preamplifiers have a lot of shit going on in the back because you got to plug all your stuff in. Power amplifiers only have just like this, basically. You just have like one speaker port here, and you gotta have two of them, right? You got two of them because they're mono amplifiers. So each of them only connect to one speaker, and that's it. So they really don't have too much ports in terms of that. Yeah, but basically all they're supposed to do is provide power. So you might wonder, you know, power, just something that provides power. It doesn't do anything else but provide power, and it's $350,000. That's all it does, is provide power to your speakers. Crazy. All right. Next is the Burmester BC350, $375,000. This is yeah, this is a German company, Burmester. They make it really expensive amplifiers usually, but their most expensive product is actually a speaker. They do have a monoblock amplifier that comes pretty much close in price to this one, the Dan D'Agostino, but because this one costs a little bit more. So yeah, the Burmester, they do have a very expensive power amplifier that costs $350,000, but their most expensive product is actually the speaker, which costs $375,000. So hence why this one's on the list instead. So this is this speaker, it looks definitely doesn't look as like futuristic as the KEF or the Monitor Audio one does. It just looks kind of sleek and minimalistic, and that kind of is a kind of German design. I would feel like Germans like to make things very functional and minimalistic looking. So it's a lavishly milled aluminum frame. Is able to reproduce music in two different tunings. Now I'll get the pure mode and the live mode. Okay. And then so the Burmester 159 is what I'm talking about. That's a $350,000 power amplifier, by the way. And so it's got two 22 centimeter midwoofers with light glass fiber papyrus membranes. Huh, papyrus, that's interesting. And then two air motion transformer tweeters with folded foil membranes, okay? That's it? Oh, okay. For a $375,000 speaker, I would expect more than just two woofers and two tweeters, but apparently that's it. Just four drivers. Okay, pure mode, and then you got live mode. I'm guessing, yeah, so one of these is going to be more natural sounding than the other, I guess, and one of them is going to be more dynamic sounding. Let's see, Burmester cables, of course, crossover. Oh, they used one of the world's largest anoechic rooms to test. It's got a KPM base reflex tube. This is you don't know how this is German, right? So German. Königliche Porzellanmanufaktur. So German. Wow. I don't even know how to pronounce that. Königliche Porzellanmanufaktur. Very German. Okay, specs. Three-way bass reflex. There's an error here. How much does this weigh, I wonder? Doesn't say the weight. Oh, no, it does. Whoa, almost 900 pounds. Okay, this is actually the most heaviest thing that I've seen so far on my list. You know, I thought that turntable would do it, right? The clear audio turntable. Nope. Clear audio turntable is like 760 pounds. This is 890, almost 900 pounds for this per speaker. Not even both. This is per speaker. Wow, 900 pounds per speaker. Okay. I wonder how you're ever going to move this. Like, you're going to have really a team of people to move it, I bet. No, you're going to need a machine. I think you can't use people to move this. You have to use a machine. 900 pounds? You have to use a machine. Yeah. Anyways, 375,000. This is the actual product page. Very minimalistic looking for the Burmester website. Loudspeaker. Attention to detail. Yep. Germans, man, they gotta make things really minimalistic. I mean, they always make things really minimalistic and functional looking, but 4 drivers for 375,000. I'm not sure about the value on that. I mean, compared to how many drivers the Macintosh and the Steinway speaker had, right? Wow. Okay. Anyways, better be made in Germany for this price. Yeah, 900 pounds. That's definitely the most expensive thing on my list so far. I don't think that would be beat. We'll see, though. There's a few more left on my list. Almost done. Okay, so next up is the Wilson Audio Chronosonic XVX. I think you guys knew Wilson Audio would be on my list, right? Those of you guys who are audiophiles would know Wilson Audio. Wilson Audio is just plain one of the most expensive speaker manufacturers in the world. They're American. They've been around for decades. They're known just for producing expensive speakers. That's what they do. They don't make any cheap speakers. I think their cheapest speaker is still like $20,000. So I think you guys knew that Wilson Audio was going to be on this list. And their most expensive speaker is the Chronosonic XVX. What can I say? I mean, this is one hell of a looking speaker. I mean, wow, look how unique that is. And for this price, this is almost $600,000 Canadian. It's about 450,000 US, I would say. Something around there. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, about 450,000 US. So you get one of these looking speakers. Very crazy looking. Yeah, it's a truly remarkable loudspeaker system. I want to find more details, so let's look at the website here, the Wilson Audio website. Okay, so Daryl Wilson is the lead designer. I think he's the son. His father actually founded the company, so he didn't. It's the son actually designed this. But man, is this the price for both or one? It better be for a pair. Or is it, if it's just one speaker, then man, that's crazy. So the WHAM Master Chronosonic Micrometer System. Okay, drivers. Alnico Quadramag mid-range driver. That's interesting. You don't really see Alnico on speaker systems. Usually what you find Alnico on is guitar amplifiers, and interesting you find in a speaker system here. Wilson gloss colors. Of course, you can just build it however you want, because something like this will be built to order. It's not like they carry these in some kind of retailer anywhere. Like, it would be built to order, because you're not gonna just, no retailer is gonna have a $450,000 speaker just sitting there waiting for someone to buy, right? So obviously made to order. Yeah, specs, let's check it out. So you got one 10.5 inch woofer, one 12.5 inch woofer, two 7-inch mid-range, one 4-inch mid-range, one 1-inch tweeter, and another rear firing tweeter. XLF ported woofer, rear vented mid-range, rear vented range steel enclosure. It doesn't say the materials of each, but I know one of them's like Alnico woofers or whatever, but it doesn't say exactly the materials of each. Wow, the shipping weight is 1,700 pounds. Okay, guess I was wrong. Huh. Actually, it's not. No, I'm not wrong. 685 pounds. So, I thought the Burmester would be the heaviest, and I think it still is. The Burmester is like 900 pounds per speaker. This is 685 pounds per speaker. So it's still not as heavy as the Burmester is, but definitely has more drivers. I mean, look at all these drivers. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drivers here. Actually 7 if you count the back tweeter. Yeah, it's got a back tweeter, so it's got 7 drivers on it. Looks really, how do you say, it looks futuristic in a robotic way, I guess. It looks almost like a robot. I have to say, it looks almost like a robot. So it looks futuristic in a robotic way, but not in an alien way. The KEF looks futuristic, and the monitor audio looks futuristic in an alien way. The Wilson audio looks futuristic in a robot way, if that makes sense. Anyways, $450,000 speaker. You guys might wonder what's more expensive than this when it comes to HiFi. Wilson Audio is known for being one of the most expensive HiFi or speaker companies in the world, right? Well, Greif and Kodo. That's right, guys. There's a more expensive speaker company than Wilson. $635,000 Canadian for the carbon wing version of this speaker system, and that is about 480,000 US, I would say 500,000 US, somewhere around there. But man, that's really expensive. You're getting up to half $500,000 at this point. Yeah. So Gryphon, I think, is a Danish speaker company, I believe. I don't know this company too well. It's a really small boutique company. 4-way twin tower loudspeaker. Actually, let's take a look at the website here. Kodo. Again, lots of drivers on this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But you combine it with this one as well, right? It looks like they're combined together because they don't contain the same drivers. So you got another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And this is an AMT driver here in the middle. Anyways, this one looks crazy. Just as crazy as the Wilsons look more robotic, but this one, it looks a little bit more modern, not as futuristic looking, but it's filled with all these drivers, so still looks really cool, I guess. Yeah, once you get up to this much in price, you start to see tons of drivers. So that's why I'm a little bit surprised that the Burmester only had 4 drivers. And the same thing with the Daniel Hertz too. The Daniel Hertz and the Burmester only doesn't have that many drivers. You would think that they would have more for. You would think it would be more like this, right? Or the Macintosh or the Steinway. Like this is what I'm talking about. You're paying this much money for a speaker, you better have more drivers. Yeah, this is so each base tower has 8 8-inch woofers. So each one of these speaker systems, and I call this a speaker system because once you buy one of these, it's actually not just one of these towers, it's 2. It comes with the other one as well. So I think this is the base tower and this is the mid-range and high-end tower. So one of them is just for tweeters and mid-range and the other one's just for woofers, I think. So it actually comes with 2 towers per speaker system. Each base tower has 8 8-inch woofers and a Gryphon amplifier. And yeah, it's a Class AB amplifier. And this, you get another pair of tower. You get the other pair of tower that handles the high and mid range. 6 5.5-inch lower mid range, 4 4.5-inch upper mid range, and all around the air motion transformer tweeter. Okay. Yeah, very interesting design actually, because this is not one, like it's a speaker system. You got to have both of them together. So one of them just for the low end, and then one of them for the high and mid range. So very interesting. Twin tower louds. It's a twin tower loudspeaker system. Yeah, very cool though. Yeah, German air motion transformer. I wonder if that's kind of like the ELAC jet tweeter then, because the ELAC is German, right? And they make the jet AMT tweeters. 4-inch mid-range drivers, Gryphon 5-inch mid-bass drivers, 8-inch bass drivers, designed and built in Denmark. Better be for this price. And a base tower amplifier capable of driving 1,000 watts. I mean, that's a lot of drivers. You're talking about 38 drivers in total. Still not as much as the Macintosh. The Macintosh had 81. I don't think anyone can beat 81 drivers in a single speaker system, but this one has 38 drive units. So this one, next to the Macintosh, this one has the next most drivers, I think. I don't know how much Steinway has, actually. Steinway doesn't tell me. So, yeah, I think this is the second most after the Macintosh, though. But yeah, this is about $480,000-$500,000 US for this speaker system. And I'm actually not sure. I think you might still need 2 of these. Because one of these, because it's designed to be used together as one complete speaker system, right? So if you want stereo speakers, you might actually need to buy 2 of these. And then, if that's the case, then, yeah, then you actually gonna have 4 speaker towers. I don't know. Like, is this supposed to be used together as one system, or you had to buy 2 of them? I don't know. But wow, this is a crazy design though. Yeah, crazy design. So the Gryphon makes, this is Gryphon's most expensive thing, but they have other expensive stuff. You guys can see they have a $300,000 power amplifier here as well. But their most expensive product is this speaker here, which is yeah, $500,000 US. Anyways, what might be more expensive than that? I do have 2 more things on my list, more expensive actually. Okay, the TechDoes Air Force Zero turntable, $650,000 Canadian. So this is again another $500,000 device here, but this is a turntable. I think this is the most expensive turntable on my list. It's $500,000 by this Japanese company called TechDoes. And another super over-engineered turntable system here. High precision rotation, virtually zero wobble. Yeah, I mean, if you're paying $500,000, $500,000 for a turntable, you better have a pretty good stability here on your turntable. Enormous inertia generated by flywheel effect, extremely high signal to noise ratio, driving circuitry. 100 kilogram stainless steel, 35 kilogram just for the platter base, 100 kilogram total platters, 33 kilogram bottom platter, 20 kilogram second platter, 20 kilogram third platter, 20 kilogram fourth platter, another 7 kilogram top platter. Man, how many platters do you need for a turntable, right? Drive motor 3-phase, drive motor. It doesn't even play 78 RPM. That's sad for a $500,000 turntable. Total weight is 330 kilograms, which is about like over 700 pounds. Yeah. Anyways, I think this is going to weigh just as much as that Clear Audio turntable I saw earlier. Yeah. And TechDoes. So yeah, it's a Japanese company, very boutique. It's the designer is Hideaki Nishikawa, and yeah, well, this is another crazy looking turntable system. But interestingly, it doesn't look like actually like very not. It looks industrial, but not as much so as the other ones like the Clear Audio and the other one from Canada, because this one is yeah, it doesn't have that whole row of like stuff. It's not like that tower of stuff that we saw, right? Yeah, so I find that interesting, but it weighs just as much though. Something must be going on here because it weighs like 700 something pounds. So even though it doesn't look as substantial as the Clear Audio statement, obviously still very, very like high end and stuff. And still very heavy. Something's going on here, and of course it's the plates, right? They got a whole bunch of these really heavy plates in it. Yeah, so he's got this stuff: platter, sensor, crystal oscillator, direct digital synthesizer, torque switching circuit, 3-phase signal generator circuit, motor driving amplifier, synchronous motor, sensor and microprocessor. It's got all these in the system. Okay. Yeah, it does not play 78 RPM. For a $500,000 turntable, it doesn't play 78 RPM records. Platter base, 35 kilograms, serves as a hub for the air suspension system. And it has 2 tone arms. Again, I don't know why you need 2, but someone who has high-end turntables can tell me why. 100 kilogram base frames, stainless steel. Two titanium tone arm bases, platters. It doesn't tell you what cartridge it uses. It's funny, like I think these high-end turntables, they don't even come with a cartridge. They don't tell me they don't tell me what cartridge they uses. So it's interesting. Like you pay this much money for a turntable, it doesn't even come with a cartridge. I think they don't come with one. So you actually have to supply the cartridge separately, which means you have to spend another like thousands of dollars on cartridges, you know. When there's some pretty expensive phono cartridges out there as well, like the Lyra I think makes some pretty expensive cartridges. I've used Hana cartridges before, which also makes some pretty expensive cartridges. Rega makes some pretty expensive, like, yeah, there's some pretty expensive cartridges out there. Yeah, I think Lyra makes some of the most expensive. That's a Japanese phono cartridge maker. Ortophone, if you get the highest end cartridges. Interesting. It says it has the air system and optional rack, power supply air pump units. The system comes with 3 power supply air pump units. Unit 1 out of 3 contains the air pump for floating the platter, driving the main power circuitry. Unit 2 out of 3 contains the air pump for floating of the rotor and flywheel of the motor. And then Unit 3 out of 3 contains the air pump for vacuum disc cold down, air pump for air suspension. What? Wow, that's a lot of 3 power supplies. Crazy. One's for the platter, and the other's for the rotor and flywheel of the motor, and then the third one's for the vacuum disc cool down, because it has a system where you like the vacuum sucks in the disc, I guess, to hold it down. Like crazy. And the Air Force Zero rack system. 3 power supplies. That's pretty pretty nuts here. Yeah, so you're gonna have to add like thousands and thousands of dollars more for this turntable. Yeah, actually, let me just like go here for quick. I know this wasn't in my original video, but I didn't put this on the original list. But Lyra Atlas, low output moving coil cartridge. So these high-end turntables don't seem to even come with a cartridge. So you got to supply the cartridge separately, even though this thing's $500,000. You're paying $500,000. It doesn't come with a cartridge. And then if you're buying it separately, you have to get a high-end cartridge as well, right? You're not going to get a low-end cartridge. You got to get a high-end cartridge because you have a very high-end turntable. So why not spend another $20,000 on a Lyra Atlas cartridge? Yes, $20,000 just for a phono cartridge. I mean, yeah, this Lyra is a Japanese company, and this is their flagship cartridge. $20,000. Crazy. Yeah, it's a manufacturer of high-end phono cartridges. It was founded in Japan. Actually, it's founded in Japan by an American, funny enough. But yeah. So let's take a look at this asymmetrical construction. The only cartridge manufactured to mount the cantilever assembly directly onto the cartridge body. Control over spurious resonances. Atlas is 12% higher voltage output voltage than the Titan. Lyra's new angle technology. Yeah, actually we can take a look at the actual website here. Nope. Here we go. The Atlas Lambda. Ooh, this one's in purple. Yeah, designer Jonathan Carr, builder Yoshinori Mishima. So it's built in Japan, but the designer is American. Moving coil, of course. I mean, you're not going to have moving magnets at the high end. High end phono cartridges are always going to be moving coil because, yeah, they're just better at the high end. Lyra designed long footprint, variables radius style line contact new diamond for the stylus. And diamond coated solid boron rod with short 1-point wire suspension directly mounted onto the cartridge via high pressure knife edge system cantilever. Very over engineered, but that it is what it is. It's a high end phono cart. I think this is the most expensive phono cartridge I've seen. $20,000 for a phono cartridge is crazy. I think this is the most expensive phono cartridge I've seen. If there's a more expensive one, let me know. But wow, $20,000 for a phono cart. Yeah, because this $500,000 turntable doesn't come with one. So you gotta add another $20,000. But anyways, that's all that is just an aside from this Tectus Air Force Zero turntable, which is a really expensive turntable. All right, now let's go to the most expensive one on my list, which is $1 million. Yes. Actually, it's $1 million Canadian, I should say. It's not $1 million US. $1 million Canadian is about 750,000 US, I would say. Yeah, so $750,000 US for the Sonus Faber Suprema. Sonus Faber is an Italian speaker manufacturer. They make very expensive speakers, although not quite the same level as Wilson in general, although this is more expensive than the Wilson. I think actually Wilson might have something close to this, but yeah, this is in general, like, I think this is their very high-end stuff, Sonus Faber Suprema. I mean, yeah, $1 million Canadian, so $750,000 US. Yeah, they make usually speakers costing, I would say $2,000 to $20,000 or $30,000, but this is definitely their most expensive speaker system, the Suprema, the pinnacle of luxury audio. So, yeah, the Suprema 2.1 and 2.2. So yeah, $750,000 for the 2.2 one. And what do you get for that amount of money? You get a 4-way system, 20 millimeter silk dome tweeter with dedicated waveguide, new diamond magnet, 38 millimeter tweeter. So, super tweeter. Oh, that's interesting. So you got 20 millimeter silk dome super tweeter, which is for the super high frequencies that you might not even be able to hear. A 38 millimeter silk dome with dedicated waveguide, 6.5 inch mid range, and 8-inch neodymium slug magnet for the mid woofer, and 4 8-inch woofers. And the back emission, back tweeters as well, 28 millimeter silk dome back tweeter, 4-inch paper cone driver for the back mid range, and 110 kilograms per column. So this is actually not too heavy, given that it's a very high end speaker, about like 200 something pounds each. Still heavy, but not as heavy as some of the other ones we saw. Loudspeakers, woofers, 238 centimeter carbon fiber. Huh. Okay, let's take a look at the actual page here. Suprema. Yeah, so this entire audio system here is what we're talking about here. But yeah, $750,000 US. Ooh. Almost, I mean, not quite $1 million, but yeah, it is $1 million Canadian though. So you really do have to be a millionaire in Canada to get one of these things, because it costs $1 million. So yeah, each of the 2 towers is a 4.5-way system, 2 backfiring speakers and 8 front firing. Yeah, 4 woofers, 1 mid woofer, 1 mid range, 1 mid tweeter, 1 super tweeter. Crazy. Okay, well, this is the most expensive speaker on my list, and the most expensive product on my list. I mean, $750,000 US is going to be hard to beat. I don't know if something like in production, I'm going to say. Like, I'm not talking about one-offs, but I mean, this could be, like, it's just something that's made to order, obviously, but it's still made to order, but it's not something that's like exactly one-off. This is actually something they have on their website, which means that it's something that you can actually buy, like from production. So I don't know if there's anything more expensive than this in the hi-fi world that you can buy on production. So that's the thing, like $1 million. Is there anything that can really beat that? I don't know. Yeah, the thing is, of course, there'll be expensive speakers that are just one-offs, but for a production speaker, I don't think I've seen anything more expensive than this. Yeah, it's going to be hard to beat $750,000 US for a speaker that you just make to order at any time. So, yeah, let me know, guys. Anyways, that's my list of very expensive, just browsing through very expensive hi-fi equipment. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this this little tour. Yeah, just a little discussion. That's all I did. Just a little discussion of each thing. Just it's cool and interesting looking through all the different expensive hi-fi equipment out there. Like, Jesus, like $500,000 for a turntable, $20,000 for a phono cartridge, $100,000 for a speaker cable. A lot of this is really crazy. It will be crazy for most people. $1 million for a speaker system. I mean, like, it's all really crazy, right? And the monoblock amplifiers. You guys know monoblock amplifiers can cost like $300,000, you know, like stuff like that. It's crazy. Anyways, just stuff I can dream about, because I'll never have the money to buy or even look at one of these things. So it's just cool for me to just browse around, you know, just for fun. So that's it, guys. Let me know if you have any questions and if you enjoyed this little tour and discussion. That's it. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any expensive hi-fi equipment you want me to look at and make a video of in the future. Let me know. Yeah, I don't know. Something more expensive than this. Let me know.